What's up guys, thanks for tuning in. This week I'm going to show you how to fix that horrendous noise that you hear in the background right now, which is our air conditioner. We're going to make it a lot more efficient. We're going to do an AC mod. So to do this modification to our air conditioner, we're just going to need a few very simple things. We've got some foam project board. I picked this up from Home Depot. And then also got some foam insulation tape. These are really the only two things you're going to need. You're going to need probably a good sharp knife, like a razor knife, to cut this stuff. It's pretty dense, but it's going to do a really good job at dampening the sound and channeling the air into the ductwork, which is what our ultimate goal is. So the first thing you have to do to get this bottom panel off, you're going to pull your grates down. You're going to remove your filters. And that's going to give you access to these 4 screws. So we'll take those out. So that'll take this piece off. So the next thing you have to do is remove this plate that's underneath here to access up inside your AC unit. And again, same deal, 4 screws. So now we have access to the whole inner part of our AC unit. We're going to remove this piece. This is just a piece of duct board that they have in here to separate the return air side from your supply side over here. So the reason this system is so inefficient is the air gets blown from here straight down into this big open space. And then basically they're trying to force the air into these little small ductwork openings, but they're not actually directing the air straight in. So it's very loud, there's a lot of turbulence, it's not very efficient. So we're going to use our foam project board. We're going to cut some pieces to go here on this side, and then from the bottom to kind of direct this air directly into the ductwork of the trailer. Alright, so we're going to start with our piece to go across the back. We're going to cut it first. I've got it measured out. That piece is going to be 5 inches by 14.5. So now we're going to go ahead and cut that out. So now I took our piece that's going across the back, and I cut it in half so we can fit it in behind our bolts that are holding the AC in. So as you can see, the 1-inch board is just a little too thick to get behind those bolts. So I'm going to trim a little bit of this out so that it'll fit behind there. So we're just going to score this just a little bit. We're going to come in from this angle, just trim it from here. So now we've got that piece fit in behind our bolt. Alright, so now we have our 2 back pieces fit. So I'm not going to secure these in yet because now we're going to mark from the top of our duct to here. So we're going to mark from here to there, and then from there to there, so we can cut that on an angle to give our top piece, our top piece something to sit on. All right, so now I have the angles marked. I marked it also which side was the left and which side was the right, because it is a little bit different on each side. So now we're just going to trim our angles off here, trim those corners off, and then we'll get a measurement for our piece that's going to lay in there on top of it. So you can see I've also switched. I've got a fillet knife. It's longer and a little easier to manage when I'm trying to cut the 1-inch board. A razor knife worked okay, but this is going to let me kind of get in there and just cut it without mangling it up quite so bad. So left. I'll put those back in place. So now you can see what we're starting to have here. So what I'm wanting to do is close this off, and then we're going to cut a piece just like this. It's going to go back here. So we'll completely close off this top and divert that air directly into the ductwork. All right, so now that we have our rear pieces in place, I've cut a 9-inch by 5-inch piece. It's going to be basically like the roof of our little box. So I want this to go all the way to the back wall over the top of our back panel. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually notch out. I'm going to mark and notch out where I need to cut out of our rear piece, so that this will slide all the way in. So now we're just going to notch it out. So now we'll just notch out around where our bolt is, and that should slide all the way back. And just like that, we've got a nice snug fit up there. So it fits pretty snug around the bolt, so we can put some insulation tape around there just to seal that up. It's going to be really easy to seal. So now I'm going to use our piece from the left side and basically make a pattern to cut our piece that's going to go on the right side. Just make sure that our bolt hole is going to match up. You know, the tighter you can make this stuff fit together, the better you're going to be. It's going to make taping it up a lot easier. So now, test fit it. Alright, there we go. So now, you can see if we put everything in place that we've got so far, you can see that. So now we have the roof of our box made. We're going to come in here and trim these off so they're flat, so they're not sticking out. That way they don't impede any airflow coming down out of our main supply. So now what we're going to do, we need to cut a notch in the bottom so we could put our floor in before we build our back piece. It's going to cover everything up and seal it up. So I'm going to use my square, and I'm just going to figure out kind of what angle we want to divert this air into. I don't want to go way up high because I don't want to choke it off too much. So I'm going to go from the bottom of my ductwork, and I'm going to go just a slight angle I'm going to mark it all the way across. So when we cut this, we'll just put our piece right up to the bottom, and that'll help divert all the air into this one. And then we'll do the same thing on this side, divert our air into this side. Take the bottom of our back piece off. So now we have our left side. And our right side. So when they go up in the back, it'll be like this, and then we'll cut a piece to go across the bottom. All right, so now I've got all my pieces cut. I measured. It's really one of those deals where it's not going to be a universal measurement for everybody's application. So you're just going to have to kind of cut a piece, fit it, see if it needs to be trimmed a little bit. I mean, it's not going to be pretty. Cutting this foam board is a mess, but I switched over, started using a fillet knife, which helped a lot to cut it a little more smooth. So this is going to go against the back, and then these pieces are going to be basically my roof that's going to go on top of it, and then I've got pieces that are going to go in on the bottom, and then I have my final piece, which basically all I did was take my two front pieces, and I made basically a template out of those to make the piece that's going to go across the back to seal it all up. The tape I'm going to be using is foam insulation tape. It reminds me a lot of like packing tape, but it's designed for foam and to tape up foam, styrofoam, any type of foam insulation. So I'm going to start with my pieces that are going to go against the back. So now I'm going to put my pieces that are going to basically be my roof. I'm going to put them on. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. This job is kind of a pain. And it is time consuming, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot better than what we had. So now I've kind of got those pieces fitted. I'm going to seal everything up on the inside with some insulation tape. This stuff goes on really well. I mean, it really sticks to that foam really well. All right, so we've got our tape. We've taped all this up really good in here. We've sealed up top. This tape is supposed to withstand extreme cold, heat, humidity, moisture. So that's why I decided to go with this over the regular foil tape. So we got some holes, so I'll seal those up also. And then I'm going to put our back piece on, and then I'll put our floor in last. So what I've decided to do is tape the piece that's going to go on the bottom. I want to seal it from the inside, and then I'll also put some tape on the outside. So I've got it propped up on about the angle that it's going to go on. Just kind of hold those together. Get a piece of tape on the inside. So it can still move and flex a little bit from there, but I wanted to get some tape on the inside. Now we got some tape on the inside. So now I've got our back piece already sitting up in place. So I want to fit this in and get this all fit together. And you can kind of see what's happening now. So with all this closed off, the air is going to come down, and this bottom piece is just gonna close off that box. And all we've basically done is made a box so the air comes down and shoot straight in to the ductwork. All right, now we just gotta tape everything up. You can see we've got our bottom all in place. So we'll just seal all this up with our insulation tape really well. Seal across the middle here again. And you can see that's why I wanted to get some tape on the inside. I knew there was gonna be a little gap, and I would rather that be sealed really good on the inside. So I want to tape as much as I can from the inside, and then just put our bottom on and the back on from the outside. So I pushed all our wires up out of the way so I can get in here and tape this up. Those wires are very much in the way when you're trying to tape this all together. So again, I'm going to put some tape on to kind of hold everything in place, and then I'll go back and really seal it really well. All right, so you can see we've got it all taped up really good. Got our new little box made in here. So now we're gonna put this all back together. We're gonna turn the air conditioner on and see if it's any quieter. So one thing to keep in mind, if you do this modification, you'll no longer be able to open your dump vents. So your vents that you can open to dump the AC right into the living room, those will no longer work because you've closed everything off. But you're not gonna need those because the amount of air that's gonna be pushed through your duct system now is going to be 100 times better than what it was with that old system that they have in place. So now we're just going to line up all of our screws, put this thing back together. Alright, so there it is. It's definitely a lot quieter. I mean, it's not silent, obviously. The AC is running right above me, but it's a lot quieter. And from standing right here, I mean, I can feel air. I can feel the air blowing out of these vents all through the living room. So I know that with summertime coming, it's always a struggle to keep the RV cool in Florida when it's 100 degrees outside. So I really think that this modification is going to make it a lot more efficient, cool the RV down. Our son's bunk room in the back has always been really hard to keep cool. It's hard to keep warm in the winter, and it's hard to keep cool in the summer. So there's a tremendous amount of airflow coming out of his vent now in the back. So I'm excited that we did it. It's not really super difficult, but it is time consuming. And cutting that foam, you know, it's not easy, but if you use a really sharp knife, fillet knife worked out great for me. Make sure you get it all taped up and sealed up good, and you're not going to have any issues. Just take your time, fit all your pieces in there, and you should be good to go. All right, that's going to do it for now. We appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you guys down the road.